Well, that was a game. That was absolutely one of the most interesting games I've seen the whole season. I haven't watched that many games this year. I've watched probably about 10 so far, but that was probably the best one. This one was a lot of fun to watch. Very entertaining almost the whole way through, and it was overall a really high scoring, really good game as a whole. Boston versus Ottawa. Heading into this game, Boston's undefeated at 3-0. And Ottawa is 0-2. So Ottawa, they were kind of bringing in this mentality saying, it's not time to panic yet. But DJ Smith was saying, and I heard him say this too, he was saying that, they don't want to get themselves into a hole like they did last year. And this has happened the past couple of years. They showed this stat where over the last two seasons, in the first 20 games, they're 9, 29, and 3. They were awful. And then they picked it up towards the end of the year. The thing they need to do if they want to stay a consistently good team this year, they need to not get into a hole early. And I think this game played a huge role and could potentially stop them from heading in that direction, because they were. And if they lost this game, they're 0-3, and that wouldn't look so good. So starting off here, it's Swayman versus Forsberg, and almost right away we get a goal. It's from Claude Giroux, his second of the season for DeBrincat and Norris. His wife and his kids were in the building. Made me sad as a Flyers fan, but it is 1-0 Ottawa very, very early. It was 2 minutes in. Pretty much nothing happened, and Giroux just comes in and scores. Very impressive goal overall. There was a Bergeron shot that was stopped. He looked solid on the Boston end as per usual, but then Ottawa gets another one. It's from Brady Tkachuk. He looked very good tonight. And maybe he wasn't getting as much points as he was other opportunities, but he really set up a lot of the goals that happened. Tkachuk got his second of the year from Stützle and Zub to make it 2-0. There was a Holden shot that was stopped. Holden make it his season debut tonight, if I'm correct. Then there was a Boston penalty on Trent Frederic. So really not a good start here for the Boston Bruins. They go down 2-0, and then they get a penalty. It wasn't looking so good. There was a Norris shot that went wide. Norris then hit the post. There was the DeBrincat shot that was tipped. Pinto fired wide, but the penalty was killed off. So that was good. It kept it from being 3-0. And if it went down 3-0 early there, we could have seen Swayman get pulled way faster than he did. He did get pulled, but not at that moment. There was a Hall shot that was blocked, a DeBrusk shot that was denied, and then an Ottawa penalty came the other way for Batherson, which was a delay of game. Was kind of controversial because it went into the bench, but then the rest ruled it to be a delay of game, so it's tough. But there was a lot of controversial calls in this game. There was a Hall chance that was stopped, a Zacha chance that was denied, then the scrum ensued right afterwards, and then the power play was killed off. Shots were 9-6, Boston halfway through. So Boston was having the upper hand here. They still were playing well, but 2-0 Ottawa. So really kind of left the goaltending something to be desired here. There was a Zub shot that was stopped, a DeBrincat chance that was blocked, a Brandstrom shot that was denied, and then following right after that was a Drake Batherson goal. It would have been his first of the year, but then Boston challenges for goalie interference. And I saw some goalie interference. I knew it was going to be close because Strawman, the defenseman, battling with Tkachuk, they were kind of playing for position, but he was interfering with Swayman. So more or less, refs called back the goal. It's no goal, still 2-0. And then pretty much right after that, Batherson scores anyways. His first of the year from Tkachuk and Stützle to make it 3-0 Senators. So yeah, it's 3-0 early. Not looking so good. There was a DeBrincat shot that went wide. There was a Clifton chance that was denied. A Zaboros shot that went wide. Then there was two Pastrnak chances that were denied. Pastrnak looked solid tonight. I thought he looked really good. And one of those chances led to a Boston goal. It's from Patrice Bergeron, his third of the season from Pastrnak and DeBrusk to make it 3-1. So the Bruins were on the board. It was looking optimistic at that point, but we'll see. There was a Shabbat chance that was wide, a Zacha shot that was blocked, and then Artem Zub goes to the box for tripping late in the first. There was a Coyle backhand that was blocked. Then I think Coyle had a shot that went wide, if I'm correct. Yep. And that pretty much did it for the first period. Scores 3-1 Ottawa. Shots were 11-9 in favor of Boston though. So Boston still had the upper hand in shots, but I think Ottawa played overall a better period. Heading into that second period, Boston did have some time on the power play, and they capitalized. David Krejci scores his second of the season from Bergeron and Pastrnak, which makes it 3-2. And then not long afterwards, A.J. Greer, a really interesting acquisition for Boston. already has 3 goals this season. This one was scored from Charlie Coyle, and he ties up the game. And this is when we started seeing the comments of, oh, Ottawa doesn't want to get themselves into a hole here. And that's what I thought. If they went down 0-3 and lost to the Bruins, I wouldn't bet on it. And I mean, like, it's not like they were playing bad the past couple of games. They played solid in Buffalo from what I heard. And Toronto was honestly a coin flip. I mean, like, that could have gone either way. The last goal was scored in the final seconds. Yeah, I mean, like, really, but this game really would have made it not look so good. There was a Zacha chance that was stopped, a Tkachuk chance that was stopped, a Kastelik chance was blocked, and another thing here about Kastelik, I think I mentioned him in the Toronto game when I reviewed that, but Kastelik looked really solid. And he looked really solid again tonight, even had a goal. We'll get into that in a little bit here. Then there was a fight. Connor Clifton versus Parker Kelly, more or less. I think it was Clifton that hit Kelly into the boards, and they started, like, punching each other, and eventually the gloves just dropped, and they were kind of just hugging each other. There really wasn't a winner, but I guess that was the first fight of the season that I've seen. There's been other fights, but that's the first one I've seen. Shots were 18-14, Boston halfway through. Then Ottawa gets themselves on the board, and this kind of killed the rhetoric. This one from Shane Pinto, his second of the year from Joseph and Mott. It's 4-3. A Kastelik wraparound was stopped, and then again, Tim Stützle scores to make it 5-3. So Stützle's first of the year from Batherson and Tkachuk. It's 5-3 again. Ottawa was really dominating, and it really was hard to pick like a first star of this game. Really, because like what I saw was like a team effort from everyone. I saw everyone playing pretty well. It was kind of difficult to pick a player of the game or like a player that was best on the Senators. So that's something you'll see later. There was a Riley shot that was wide. The DeBrincat backhand was denied. There was a Watson shot that was stopped. And then right after that, Mark Kastelik gets his first of the season from Watson and makes it 6-3. Again, Kastelik, one of those impressive fourth-line forwards, playing that grit defense. He looked really solid tonight. I was very impressed with how he played. Then, not long after that, Boston gets himself the goal. It's Nick Folino, his second of the year from Laco. Yeah, that's one of the guys we haven't seen in a long time. Makes it 6-4. There was a Joseph chance that was stopped, a Sanderson shot that was denied, a DeBrincat shot that was stopped, and then Boston and Ottawa get penalties. Krejci got a penalty for roughing, and Norris got a penalty for roughing, so it's 4-on-4 here for a little bit. I think it carried over to the third period as well. But then, just before the period ends, Boston gets themselves on the board. This one's from Pastrnak, his third of the season, from nobody to make it 6-5. So people were thinking, okay, Boston's making another comeback here. We kind of need to control ourselves. And then the period pretty much just ended. Final score after 2 periods, 6-5 in favor of Ottawa. The shots were 25-23 in favor of Ottawa. Yeah, the third period was really important, and it was going to be a huge period. Starting off the third, you have Pinto with a shot that was denied. Pastrnak got a shot that was stopped. And this is kind of when the Senators the Bruins kind of started taking over a lot more. There was a Pastrnak shot that was stopped, a Batherson shot that was blocked, a Greer shot that went wide, and then a Joseph shot that was denied. And then in between breaks, they had Linus Ullmark come in. They were like, all right, Swayman's letting 6 goals tonight. Let's give him the night off. Let's give him the rest of the period off. They brought Ullmark in. I thought he looked better, but still not ideal. There was a Bergeron shot that was stopped, a Pastrnak shot that was blocked, a Riley shot that was denied, and then a Boston penalty and an Ottawa penalty. This one was on Hamonic for hooking and Pastrnak for embellishment. So it's another 4-on-4 penalty there. There was a Riley chance that was stopped. Tkachuk hit the post on a breakaway, and everyone thought he scored. I thought he scored. I screamed. I'm like, oh my God. And no, he didn't score. So what the heck? I just embarrassed myself for nothing. There was the brush shot that was denied, a Zub shot that was denied, and then Ottawa scores. Artem Zub gets another shot and another goal on the board, his first of the year from Batherson and Brandstrom, makes it 7-5. And that was the really clutch goal because I'm not too sure how this game would have stayed if it stayed 6-5. Shots were 28-28 halfway. Ottawa gets a penalty then, and this was huge for Boston. Brandstrom goes to the box for slashing. The fans did not like it. But this was huge for Boston. If Boston wanted to stay in this game and start making another comeback, they were going to need to score, and they didn't. There was a Lindholm shot that was tipped wide, a Bergeron shot that was stopped. Another Bergeron shot was stopped, and that pretty much did it for the penalty. There was really nothing there. Sens played a really aggressive and really good penalty kill tonight. I thought they looked impressive. There was a Krejci chance that was denied. A Norris shot was stopped. Then the Bruins pull the goalie with 2:15 left. And then Bergeron gets a penalty for interference. And I'm like, well, that does it. There was like a minute 58 left. It's obviously a 2-minute penalty. I'm like, yeah, that pretty much was it. Senators called a timeout, obviously. But that pretty much did it. Really nothing happened. It was kind of just ragging the puck. More or less. Nothing happened. Senators win this one 7-5. They get their first dub of the year. 3 stars of the game, in my opinion, were Brady Tkachuk at 1. I thought even though he didn't get a lot of points tonight, he still set up a lot of goals. And a lot of these goals wouldn't have happened if they weren't for Brady Tkachuk. And even the goal that was called off wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Tkachuk. Just being honest, just saying. Second star I had Claude Giroux. I thought Giroux looked really solid tonight. And then third star I had Anton Forsberg. I thought Forsberg looked good as well. Another honorable mention for the Bruins end of things. I thought Bergeron looked solid. I thought he looked solid in this game. Some other stats for you. Shots per 33-31 Boston. So although Ottawa won this game, Boston still kind of took over and outshot them. So that is something to take into consideration there. Power plays, Boston was 1 for 3 and Ottawa was 0 for 2. And as for hits, it was 34-23 in favor of Ottawa. So they really were laying the physicality hammer down there. But yeah, that does it for yet again another game review. I'm actually going to start wearing jerseys to school tomorrow. So we'll be wearing this one tomorrow. Yeah, all right. Anyways, thank you all for watching. For Sports, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you are new. Pretty soon we will be starting to post like actual hockey content. I know we've been kind of posting like game reviews lately, and it's been kind of boring. But like I'm still trying to wait for the season to get into full swing before we start making all these single team videos and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.